Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworthgear.com. This week we've got Brad Luttrull, not the Brad Luttrull that was from Go Wild, but our Patreon, Brad Luttrull. If you are in the Patreon group or you've heard us talk about him, he is Brad the Trout. Amazing guy, been really instrumental in our Patreon hunt, helped out a lot of guys, and actually is a turkey guide here in Michigan, in the West Michigan area, and just brought him on. Our turkey season is going to be starting up this weekend, and he's already been out, already killed the bird. They've killed, his group has killed 9 birds already this year, and yeah, so figured we'd get him on here just to talk a little bit of turkey hunting here as we're now starting to gear up for it. And actually, I think I may kill a bird with a shotgun this year or take one out. Depends. We've got a couple guys coming in from out of town this weekend, and there's a turkey camp going on up north, kind of by where we do the Patreon hunt, so I'm going to be kind of all over this weekend, trying to catch up with some other guys and see what's going on. But yeah, and I was able to get my hands on Hawk, one of their turkey scopes. Super cool. One of the things that I wasn't aware of with their turkey scope is it has like a sunshade on the front to eliminate glare that screws on there. Real slick. From not ever using optic on shotguns or even, hunting too much, paying attention too much about shotguns. That was something that I think is pretty slick, especially for, this time of year hunting turkeys. I can see super well. So looking forward to checking that out and trying to put it to some use. So we'll see. Definitely going to be toting that around, at least with some of the roam guys anyway. But this is going to be it's a fun podcast because we, get to talk to somebody local, talk turkey, and we had him in studio. So this one is a fun one. As always, thanks for listening. Enjoy the podcast. All right, everybody, Adam back with another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, and today we've got Brad Luttrull. If you're in the Patreon group, you'll know him as the Trout. In studio today, and we're going to talk a little bit of turkey hunting. We haven't done too much turkey hunting. I've had so much going on with the Bowman's Club fundraiser thing. It was nuts. So finally got that passed, and so I'll ask you, since you're in with the regulations, it's funny because Austin just posted it. The regs say one thing, Tag says another thing, because like when they first posted the changes for the season, they were only a week off. It was the 18th and then the 25th or 26th or whatever.
Yep.
And now it's back to May. But it's still, if you go online, it still says that this weekend was the opener or next weekend is the opener.
Yeah, they, as far as I know, it was a typo in the regulations. And they said they corrected it all, but it's still showing that it's not right. But Yeah, it opened last weekend, the 18th.
Yeah. But for the second season,
The
it's
second season, so they changed the regulations entirely this year. So instead of having that first week split for the first week and then the first week of June, they made it 2 weeks long for the first season. And then the second season is basically the full month of May. So May 2nd to the 31st. Makes it way easier to manage and understand instead of having a split season.
yeah, but if you go on there right now, even at the beginning, the second season said it started the 26th.
Yeah, that caused a lot of confusion, especially with the ZZ zone, because there's 3 different hunts for the ZZ zone alone, and it confused a lot of people.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet though. Like they actually opened it up like to where those zones, those 3 zones now are bigger and like easier to draw.
Yeah,
and so we'll get into that. Let's do like a little bit of an intro for you. So when did you start turkey hunting? Because you guys you're like the first one that I've ever even encountered that's doing guiding in Michigan. And so I want to start out with like, when did you start turkey hunting? And then we'll kind of go into the other stuff.
So I started turkey hunting back when I think my first year I was 14.
So what year was that?
Early 2000s.
Okay.
So 2002, 2003, I think. Started there, going out with my dad. Me and him both were getting into it at the same time. So it was a learning process for us all. Basically just go typical private land, go sit on a field and just hope a turkey comes walking through. Learn the basics, started calling, started figuring out how turkeys work, and then started going from there and getting bigger. And then I ventured to the public land aspect, and then it's a whole game changer learning those birds. There's not many crop fields on public land that you can go sit on. And it just kind of snowballed from there and just became a true passion. It's right there, if not taking over for deer hunting. Like,
yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, so I always ask like John, he's like, oh, I would just fish, I would just fish. I asked Skylar that. So for you, if you like, they said, okay, you can never deer hunt again, or you can never turkey hunt again, like where would you land? If
it was, I could turkey hunt the same amount of days as I could deer hunt, then I would say turkey hunt all day. The line I have is we only get one bird. So it kind of, for myself, it kind of stalls out for me. But deer hunting, you obviously get more, so you get more days in. But if I had to choose one or the other, like a 1-day hunt, I'm going turkey all day.
So with our turkey population that we have here in Michigan, and I imagine that it's different all over the state, although even being up in the UP, and again, I feel like with all this one buck stuff and all these people that are like bananas over all that, most of my experience in the UP is where there's a lot of wildlife, but there's turkeys up there, even quite a few of them. Yep. So with our state being the way that it is, right now you can't drive around without seeing turkeys unless you're turkey hunting. Now that's a whole nother thing. But do you think that, the population could go to, could withstand more than one bird? Or
so it's funny, we just had this discussion with some clients this past weekend, and right now as we sit, I feel we have a population that we could do a 2-bird limit, but it will only sustain for probably 2 years. Talking with all these non-residents that come to Michigan, they come here because of our turkey population, and if we put a 2-bird limit, we're going to drastically eliminate some of these birds. Yes, southern Michigan, we have a ton of birds because it's all ag fields. But the more north you get, you start limiting, numbers start going down a lot. So as much as selfishly would like to shoot 2 birds, to sustain the numbers we have, a one bird state is the way we feel we should always be.
And it's funny. I guess, do you feel that way about deer hunting as well? Or how do you think about that in terms of like what we can, like what we should do like on the landscape? And for those guys who are just like listening to the podcast, who are not involved with like the Patreon or the Patreon hunt or anything like that, like I came to know Brad through Eric, and Eric's like, I worked with this guy Brad, and he is like just a deer killer.
Yeah.
And he doesn't discriminate. He'll shoot anything, any buck, any deer, any fawn. It doesn't matter. He likes to kill deer. And so from like the trophy aspect, which is this one buck thing has got into this just, these guys are just trophy hunters, Brad's got all this time in the woods. He's taken, multiple guys from out of state and guys who, just trying to get on deer and put them on deer, just unselfishly. There's plenty of deer to go around. So like from that end, like how do you feel about the deer side of it?
We have a lot of deer. The people that say that we don't are, in my opinion, they don't move around enough. They have one spot they go to, and they just hope a deer comes through. But if you venture around in our woods, you will find deer. The one buck rule, I'm okay with that. I think we have a potential to be like Ohio, as far as that goes. We'll limit ourselves to one buck. It's going to make people a little more choosy on what they're shooting. Myself, like you said, personally, it don't matter to me. I'll still shoot the first bighorn that walks in front of me. I'm a meat hunter through and through. I'll fill freezers all day. But for the people that want trophy hunting, 100% one buck rule will increase that.
Now, one of the things that's come up with that, and we'll get back into the turkey stuff, but it just kind of, you said, for selfish reasons, you want to be able to shoot two birds, but you know that the population won't withstand it. One of the things that's problematic with the deer hunting thing is like if they go to one buck, the idea, and it's been brought up a lot in the rebuttal, is that we're only hoping that guys will kill more does.
Right.
Like that's where we're changing this in hopes that, and that's why they're saying, I guess you could turn that on its head and say, you're saying that it's going to make this trophy bucks, you're saying it's definitely going to happen. Well, I guess we're hoping that would happen too. What I mean? So it goes both that, that knife cuts both ways.
Right.
But at the same time, do you think that guys would shoot more does?
No. In my opinion, no. I think the people that shoot does already are going to be the ones that are going to keep shooting does. The ones that don't, I don't think it's going to incentivize them. I think the only way we're going to shoot more does in Michigan is if the state actually like really incentivizes it, like $5 tags, drop the price of them. People don't want to spend more money just to shoot a doe, anything like that. But I still believe if they're just a straight buck hunter, they're going to pass all the does, because some people believe if you shoot a doe or shoot deer before that buck comes through that you want to shoot, he's never going to come through again. But we know that's not true.
Hell, I missed the same buck 3 times.
Right.
Yeah, but and I was going to say that doesn't happen with turkeys, but I've missed the same turkey twice with
it
a bow.
100% happens with turkeys all the time.
So from the turkey hunting side and saying that, like, you didn't know what you were doing, like, what, and you and your dad started at the same time. It's kind of like me. Like, I learned turkey hunting from Frank, and then I started going turkey hunting with my dad, and I called in the first bird that my dad killed. It was a nice bird, and it was pretty close. It was definitely right in the same area where I killed my first big turkey. But for you, like, what was it like? how long did it take you guys to become successful?
So the first year we went, I actually shot my first bird. It was just the Jake. I mean, it was one of those things walking around, all of a sudden, hey, there's a bird. Just shot it, didn't even call it in, just walking down a trail and just happened to be there. So it wasn't like the full aspect of call bird and shoot bird. And then my dad, he likes to go out hunting. He likes to, just be in the woods with me. And so he would do it if I would do it. So I became like, all right, I'm going to call a bird in for you. It took him a few years before he got his first one, which was kind of cool, for him to be able to harvest one. I called one in for him, and it was a big, big bird, and watched that all unfold and had that one on video, so that was kind of cool. But like I said, he just goes out, hey, Dad, let's go out turkey hunting. Let's, he'll get a tag and we'll go. And so he's not huge into it, but he enjoys it.
And then how does that move into guiding? Like, you're a self-taught, turkey hunter, and then you're like, just grow a big giant set of balls, and you're like, I can guide for people. And like, what is the process of becoming a guide?
Yeah, so the guiding thing came up from when me and a buddy of mine, Zach, and partner in their guide service, Zach, were part
What's the name of the guide service?
Chasing Thunder Guide Service, based right out of here in Muskegon, and we hunt the whole west side of the state pretty much. We were part of the NWTF chapter, and he was the president of it, so we started doing veterans hunts. We had a connection through the Grand Rapids veteran home, so we would meet up with them and take them out and just basically call birds in for them, and we found a real passion for it right there. Then that snowballed into, he had some other connections with some other hunting side and said, hey, we got really good turkey hunting up here. Anybody wants to ever come up, get a hold of me, we'll take you out. And then we realized we were doing that a lot. So we kind of had to help ourselves, supplement ourselves, our time off from work and, away from home. And it's costly going out and finding all these spots and locating birds and scouting for them. And so we looked into how to become an actual licensed guide through the state of Michigan and started doing all those avenues. We're fully licensed, insured through our LLC, and then certified, CPR, first aid certified, is all requirements from the state. And then basically just started advertising and see what happens.
But what's the process like? So you're there's just like you go online and you're just like, is it like a nurse or a pharmacist or like whatever, there's like a license through Michigan law, or is it through the through the DNR, or how do you start that process? Like, you just go online and like chat GPT, like, hey, I want to be a guide in Michigan.
So it's actually really simple, to be honest. On private land, you don't even need to be fully licensed, anything. You can just say, hey, I'm going to start a guide service today and start taking people's money. To hunt on public land, you have to have a commercial guiding license. So that's simple. Go to the DNR website, look into commercial guide services. Then there's an application portion. You pay the fee. I think it's like $150 for 3 years. You have to send in your certification for your CPR and first aid. And then basically they send you a little sticker put on your truck, and you're good to go.
Okay. Interesting. I mean,
yeah, it's really simple.
And so, so you just start advertising, right? And the first people that you got, were they like word of mouth from people that you'd already helped out, or because you're getting people from out of state now? Yep. And it's like, even with like deer and elk and all this stuff, like, and Frank's like looking at like moose hunts and stuff, and I've talk to like a whole bunch of people and it's like, oh, this guy's good, these guys are good, but then I talk to somebody else and they're like, man, you got to be really careful because there's a lot of guys that'll just take your money. Like I've had some really bad experiences with fishing guides, you know, stuff like that. So like beginning like that first like paying client, like what's the pressure like on that?
So yeah, the first year, this is our third year doing it. The first year was kind of like a scare for us. I mean, we were really nervous about how it was going to take off and how it'd work. Like I said before, Zach had some friends in another hunting industry, like pure whitetail. They were their buddies with Zach, so they came up. We gave them a guided hunt. They hunted with us. They harvested day one, both of them. And then they started advertising like, hey, this is the outfitter we went through. They videoed it. This is what we did. Basically just laid it all out for everybody, the truth of everything. And highly recommend us to come up here. We have a good time. I mean, and then it just became referrals after that. Like we have a lot of friends that we've taken out in the woods in the past, and hey man, if you can go on our page and just give us a referral, what you thought, appreciate it. And it just snowballed from there. And everybody will contact us and we'll talk to them and lay it out to them exactly how we work and how everything should be going as planned. And they're 100% know what they're coming into when they get here.
So I want to we'll get into some hunting stuff, some of the hunting stories and stuff like that. But you know, Frank back in the day, he used to do that for salmon fishing and steelhead especially. And he said he used to get these guys come up from Chicago, didn't know how to bait a hook, didn't know how to cast, didn't know, and then he had to, you know, do like shore lunch and all the stuff. And he's like, it just got to be such a pain in the ass. Like, so have you had anybody come up who like literally didn't know what they're doing or?
Oh yeah. And that's, you have to have a lot of patience. And it's part of it. We enjoy the learning, teaching people the aspect of it, you know. And it doesn't matter first time holding a gun or you're a well veteran hunter, we accept you and we will work with you in every way we can. Sometimes it does not work out while turkey hunting because we all know turkeys are very sketchy coming in, like very observant. So we have a lot of trial and error runs with people, but it's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of patience, and we've had first timers. We've had all the way up to, we took I think he was 80s. He was in his 80s with Parkinson's. I mean, the clients we had this past weekend, he has a service dog, and this is third year coming up, so we go through the woods turkey hunting with a service dog, and it's a blast. I mean, we deal with everything.
So what's I mean, have you had like, you know, I just think of like things like it's one thing with fishing or something like that, but like I'm thinking of like negligent discharges, didn't load the gun, like all these things.
There's we go through safety number one, like that's our top priority. So obviously if we feel you're not safe handling a firearm, we address that situation right away. We make sure everybody's very comfortable with holding a firearm or whatever they're taking into the woods, and then we go from there. We're always on the safety game, like safety's on, barrels in the air. You know, we're very observant of that. But there's some times where you're meeting a random person, and it's like, okay, I don't know you, you don't know me, please don't shoot me, like.
Yeah. So what's your preferred? You know, everybody's like, you know, got to be TSS. You know, now it's 28 gauge, now it's 410, all this stuff. Yep. So, like, for you, I mean, and you know, you get this with like, you know, anybody where they're like, we want you to just use the simplest stuff. This is what we know works. And I've seen that with like some, like even like elk guide and stuff. They're like, don't bring any weird shit. Like this is what you can bring, this, or this. You know.
We don't limit anybody. They bring what they want.
Blunderbuss.
Yeah, we recommend for all of our clients a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge. 20 gauge will do everything you need it to do. It doesn't have to be TSS. I mean, I know that's the big crave, but TSS is okay in the 410 or the 28 because you need that little bit extra. But 20 gauge, 12 gauge, absolutely no reason to have that. I have a goal to shoot a turkey with everything legal. Same thing with my deer goal, like everything legal I plan on shooting a turkey with. So the 410, the 28, I just actually got my 28 gauge this year, so that was cool. 16, all those above.
Judge?
I have my pistol bird. That was the Rossi Brawler, so that was cool. That was amazing. I'm not a fan of bow hunting turkeys. I'm just not a fan of it. I feel like we're sitting in a blind, waiting on a turkey. We are now deer hunting turkeys. Like, I'm a run and gun. Let's chase this bird down, get in his face, and call him. But a lot of people want to come do it with a bow, and I usually pass those ones to Zach. Like, hey, man, you can take this one because I just don't have the patience sitting in a blind. But I will. I mean, we got to do what we got to do, but it's still, I think every turkey deserves to be taken out the way they're deserved with a shotgun.
Well, I mean, it can be done with, I mean, it can't be done by me, run and gun, but I mean, I think I've shot at 3 of them from run and gun, no blind. One of them, these are stupid jakes. I only had one. That's the one where I only had one arrow. Called these jakes into like from me to you away. I had them running in, had them all. I mean, I had the one right, absolutely, in my. The whole housing was filled up with this beard and chest, and I shot right between his legs, just feathers everywhere. I thought I smoked him because he was out there wandering around, and one of the like little tits on the schwacker clipped like in the inside of his leg, and so he was just kind of like dazed out there, like stumbling around. I thought he was just gonna fall over dead, and from me to you away, like through the brush, these other jakes that were with him were just beating the shit out of my decoy.
Oh yeah.
And I only had one arrow. I had no more arrows. I could do nothing. And he's out there, you know. I shot one. I wing butted one at like 45, and then I hit a tree on one. I got busted drawing, but those are all no blind, run and gun. So I mean, it can be done.
It can be done like solo hunting. With clients, it's a little hard. Everything's got to lay out perfect, you know, and it's a little tough. Like, especially inexperienced people want to come and try to kill a turkey with a bow, and it's like,
I'm not the best. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. What this year I may shoot one with a shotgun. I'm not exactly sure.
You should let me know. We should go do it.
We'll see. We got a bunch of the guys from the Patreon Hunter coming in this weekend. I don't know if you.
Yep, I'm swinging up there and stopping up for the day and check it out, see how it's going. Obviously, I don't have my tag anymore, but I talked to a couple of guys and said, if I don't have any clients, which we don't, I said I'll swing up for a day and just check it out.
So, for you, like, what's your number one tactic on like locating birds? Like, you're looking like, so you said these were all on public land.
Yep.
You guys killed 9. You had 9 for 13 is what you told me.
Yep.
Like, what is your tactic for like locating birds? Because like even me right now, you know, I got a long drive into work. I got an easy drive back home, and I've pinned some birds. I've seen a couple, but like in all the fields right now, like I haven't seen any field birds. I haven't seen like anything. And you know, like I said, they're everywhere until it's season, and then they're not. So, what's your like go-to, especially as we get like right now? This is like best worst case scenario because we're into full green up, and the more leaves that get on, it's harder to hear them because of the leaves and the wind, and they're getting more pressure.
Yep.
So what's your tactics for locating birds?
So if I'm going to, say, a new area and I'm looking for birds, I'm going to try to get in as early as I can just to see if I can hear them gobbling on a roost. That's going to be the number one thing. Once I can identify them on a roost, then I'll pull up a map or something to see why they're there.
Well, just real quick, like you said, okay, well, you're going to get in real early, but what makes you choose that spot to go early? Because if you just, I could just go anywhere early and listen for nothing.
So you got to look at, like, turkeys love ridge lines. So there's a lot of areas around here that are really ridgy, creek bottoms, stuff like that. So that way they can fly right off the top of the ridge into a roost, and then they're not flying upward; they're flying straight. Because turkeys have a very hard time. They can fly. A lot of people don't believe it, but they can fly, but it's a little tough for them. So they'd rather fly off the ridge top into a roost tree than fly straight from the ground up. They will, just if they don't have to, they won't. So I look for ridge lines, oaks, because they're still going to be trying to find acorns in the ground left over. They're going to still try to find all that. Then any surrounding, like, ag fields or any big open clearing areas, if an area has multiple of those, it's usually a pretty good spot I'm going to start looking, because you're going to have their roosting, you're going to have their food, they're going to have their strut zones. That's basically the things that turkeys want. And so I'll start off trying to listen for them. If I can locate them in the roost, I'll figure out why they're there. If there's ridges there, if there's a clearing close by where they're going to fly out to a clearing or an ag field. And then basically I just let them do their thing for a little bit and just see which way they go and why are they going that way. And then we spend a lot of time just on 2-tracks, just walking sandy 2-tracks and look for crossing, tracks or wing drags from strutting in, all that stuff. We spend a lot of time doing that. You can find strut zones. You're probably in an area where a gobbler is going to be, and then you just kind of hone in from there. And it's a lot of trial and error. Then you kind of figure out their normal routines year after year of what these birds like to do, and then you just kind of build off. And you can almost copy and paste that to other areas, because one bird's going to do it. Most of the other ones are going to be doing the same thing.
And so using that tactic, right? So, and believe me, the amount of miles I've walked on sandy 2-tracks and the amount of walking and calling and whatever, but like, I'm more of the trial and error guy and heavy on the error. And I'm usually with Frank, or it's on the like scouting side, like going early before the season to try and see like where there's going to be turkeys or whatever. So from that perspective, like let's say that you're in the season, right? You found a spot where you found some turkeys that are gobbling. You get in there, so you kind of know where they're roosted. You know where these strut zones are. You got birds that are gobbling in the morning. Like, for example, like I know a spot where I can go get out of the truck, and I can hear the birds gobbling from the truck, and they're 400 or 500 yards away. Like, what's your play? Do you want to be there for fly down? Do you want to let them go do their thing and you want to call them back? Like, what happens like that hen up? Do you like to kill them in the afternoon? What's your preferred like game plan?
So in the morning I pull up and I'm hearing them gobble. I'm closing that distance while they're on the tree, as long as I still have the dark to kind of help me. If it starts cracking daylight, I'm going to get within 200 yards, 150, 200 yards from that bird, and then just sit down. Not going to make a peep, other than like maybe an owl call just to get them to fire so I know where they're at. But I won't make a actual turkey call until I'm setting. I want that bird to hear me first, and I don't want to move on him after he hears me. So once he hears me, if he cuts me off and responds right back, I know I have his full attention. And 99% of the time, as long as I don't overcall, he's going to fly down and come my way, unless he gets pulled by another hen in between there. If I have the time and I can get right underneath him, I'm going to sit right underneath him. So as soon as his feet hit the ground, we're pulling the trigger.
So in that sort of scenario, because I mean, this sounds ridiculous because it's like, oh, you would always want to do that. But I'm thinking of these scenarios where I go and I know, I guess I always go to where the turkeys are going rather than where the turkeys are. Like I go, I can hear the turkeys gobble and I know they're roosted somewhere over there. But I know that at some point they generally come over there.
Yep.
And so they may be, 300, 400, or 500 yards away, and I'm going to try and call. And I can always get these birds to gobble. I can, sometimes get them, sounds like they're coming, they're not coming, like whatever. But I don't ever try and close that distance. I always set up like where I think they're going to go rather than where they are.
Right.
And so you're saying as long as you can hear them, just get to where they're at.
Me personally, I close the distance on them, and again, I want them to be the first one. I want to be the first one they hear, and also it lets me know if they have hens with them, because you'll start hearing the hen pick up, and you just basically got to make her mad. You make her mad, bring her to you, the bird's coming. I guess in your aspect, the area they are. I want to know the tree that they are. I want to know exactly what limb they're roosted on, because that way I'm moving in, and I can just sit there and quietly watch that bird in the tree, figure out what he's doing, what way he's pointing to fly down, and then I know where to go from there. As far as, if he's going to fly down that ridge, why is he flying down that ridge? Oh, there's other birds down at the bottom of the ridge. Okay, well, this is going to be a bird I'm probably not going to sit on in the roost anymore and wait for him, try to get him to come up on top of the ridge. He's just going to fly down it every time. I'm going to hunt this bird in the afternoon when he kicks the hens free and he's more acceptable to be called in.
And so when you're doing that, when you're getting in close like that, and I guess maybe even your entire game plan or whatever, decoys, no decoys, what's the decoy setup if you're using them?
So it's decoy setups for me vary all the time. It depends on if I'm trying to sneak right underneath them. If I'm trying to get right underneath them, I'm not bringing a decoy. I'm not going to be trying to fumble around and set a decoy up. I'm just going to get in quiet, sit down, go. If I'm sitting in the woods, I might throw a lone hen up right next to me, within 5 yards. That way, if I'm calling a bird in, he has this visual aspect instead of trying to focus on me. He'll be seeing the turkey. Open fields are a hit and miss on it for. Because Tom, if he's hung up on the other side of the field, he's going to be looking out in the field. He might see the decoy and say, oh, no, you're going to come to me. So he just hang up. But if you're calling, he don't see anything, he's going to keep coming. Well, where's it at? Well, maybe it's on the other side of this brush pile. So then they come in. But a lot of those big old smart Toms, they'll hang up in the woods and say, I'm not coming. You can come to me now because I can see you. I know what you are. You can come here. So field decoys are hit and miss. If I'm just going to day hunt it out in the field, I'll throw a decoy, call every, 10, 15 minutes, just random. Then maybe catch just a passing by bird, might just see the decoy and, oh, here we go. Don't even have to call. So those random little single set decoys work.
How does the strategy change throughout the day? Because I feel man, if I think about it, just because of, I think Frank's, I don't think he's necessarily lazy, but I don't think he likes to get up and and I think that probably that goes to why my style is the way that it is, where I'm not I hear him and I'm the way that I was taught turkey hunting, I guess, is we can just call him because he can just call him. I've done it, but that shouldn't be my plan. I've realized. But he's we don't got to get out there before we can get out there when it's just breaking light, as long as we can hear them gobbling, and then we'll figure it out. So how does your game plan change, like, throughout the day?
It basically just comes to basically if the hens are taking over, I already know at that point it's game over until midday, until them toms ain't going to do nothing until them hens are gone. So at that point, it's just, we'll just sit back and relax for a couple hours and throw some random calls out. Maybe you get one fired up and coming your way. But most time around 10 o'clock, then it's like, all right, now we'll go look for birds again and try to strike one up. If I'm new to an area, I like to usually go in a little bit later in the morning so I can hear them, like that gray light, and hear them on the roof still. But it's just a trial and error a lot of times. This past weekend, I had a couple where, man, I probably could have used a decoy in that situation, maybe helped us out a little bit, but it doesn't. From previous hunts where I did use a decoy and the bird came in, stopped, turned around, and ran away. So it's one of those things. It works, and sometimes it works. Never, you don't know. Sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it don't. So,
and now for like a novice hunter, someone who's like killed a couple birds and they're going out, they're on birds, but you get to that point where they were gobbling, they're not, and you don't know if you spooked them. Like all of a sudden they just shut up. Like how long do you give it until you're like, okay, I need to go somewhere else? Or do you like, like in deer hunting, you're like, we don't leave deer to find deer.
Right.
Like, do you leave turkeys to go find other turkeys? Like, how do you manage that situation?
I do leave turkeys to find turkeys, and almost every time I regret it because it seems like within half hour after I leave, I hear that bird right where I was just at. So I try not to do that anymore. If I know a bird is henned up or he's heading away from me and he just stops gobbling, I'm not going to waste my time there anymore. I will get up and either chase the bird, try to swing around him, or I'll just go to a different area. If he's henned up, I'll stop calling for a little bit and just give it, maybe move where the direction he was headed, give it a half hour, 45 minutes, hit a call, see if he fires right away. If not, he's probably still henned up. And then just hop in the truck and check the next spot. So on average, a day, well, I should say a morning, we'll hit 7-8 spots in the morning just to see if we got a hot bird ready to go. Because if they're not gobbling, it's hard to tell.
How do you manage that with clients? Because I know like how frustrating it gets like riding around with somebody where you're just like, well, there's no turkeys around here. Like, where are we going? Like, what's going on? Just how frustrating it can get. And like, my wife, she's like, I don't care about turkey hunting. We don't ever find any turkeys. It's just riding around with my dad, eating breakfast pizza and drinking coffee. So like from the client standpoint, like how do you manage like their morale type?
So when we bring clients in, they normally come in the night before. And then we meet with them, have dinner, and we go over everything. And we flat out explain to them, this is our process. We spend a lot of time in the vehicle. We'll hit a spot. Don't be surprised if we just step out of the truck, hit a call a couple times, hop back in the truck, go to the next spot. Then we explain to them we have numerous spots within a couple minutes of each other that we're just hopping out, checking. And a lot of them kind of seem like, well, that's different. We just say, trust the process. Just trust the process. It works. And then once they see how it works and how things happen, then they're like, oh, okay, now I understand why we're not wasting our time on those birds, because they're not going to come in. We have other places we could check where the hot bird might be. And we always end up doubling back and double checking there. We spend our whole day checking the same spots over and over.
How do you manage, because you said, and I was asking you about like other hunter pressure, because you're doing this on public land. And I mean, I don't know if you've heard this story, and I would have to really, really dig deep. But I've got a video somewhere. I called this turkey for 600-700 yards. I called this turkey for probably an hour and just quiet. And it was in like a tucked off corner of this field, but this bird had to come across a wide open field, cross a 2-track, and then cross this other wide open field, and then get to me. And I had my decoy set up and everything. And it was one of those deals where you could just hear him gobbling just a little bit. So I just, every so often, I'd just call to see if he was coming. Well, then all of a sudden, I just see this little black thing way off, and then he'd come. And then I videoed it. It was so far away that I'd hear the gobble, and then I'd see him, or like vice versa, whatever. And then I seen a truck go by on the 2-track, and I was like, God damn it. And then I'm just waiting, and that turkey's like, he's about 60 yards from me, and I'm calling, and then all of a sudden, boom, somebody shot at him they snuck into the wood line. They shot at him from 80 yards away, and I got the guy. He's actually in the video, like in the wide frame, like rolling back into the woods. And his truck was parked right next to my truck when I got to my truck. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? So, like, how do you manage dealing with other people? Because, I mean, I couldn't imagine if that was, like, me hunting with somebody who's, like, paying me.
It's tough. We're very professional about it. If people are in the area, then we just back out. We had a hunt this weekend that we were actually working some birds in, and I had a truck drive down the 2-track. It's a very heavily used 2-track. Trucks, dirt bikes, everything going down it. Well, the truck stopped, and I hear the car door slam, and they stopped like right in front of us. And I looked at the clients. I said, the bird's working. We're going to hold off for a second. Well, then I hear them talking, and I'm like, this is not good, because if I can hear them, the bird is close enough to me, he's probably going to get spooked. So then I told him we're just going to get up and make a move and find out it was just a couple hikers. But the inner me and the solo me was freaking out right then, because I don't deal with, like, that kind of stupid. Like, I have a hard time dealing with people that are not considerate. Like, there's a truck parked in a spot. You're just going to come up and start slamming doors during a season. It's like, come on. I had another guy a couple of years ago, opening day. I was the first one at the trail. I was waiting for a buddy of mine and his kid to come out. I was taking his kid out to shoot a bird. I had the birds roosted. It was during COVID, so I knew the birds. I watched them every day. I knew exactly where they were going to touch down. And buddy rolls up. We're getting dressed. This guy comes up, and he's like, well, we're going to go hunt these birds. I was like, well, that's where we're headed. But there is another group down on this other ridge if you want to hunt those. Well, I've only scouted those. Okay, well, etiquette is we were here first, so we're going to push in on these birds. So I directed him. I kind of walked him towards those other birds to set them up. And we go back to these other ones, get on them. Kid missed. So the next day we go back in. And this time the guy came walking right through. Sat right up over our decoys. And I was like, no. So the first Jake that popped its head up got blown away, and I went and took pictures right in front of them, and they're blind, and I don't like that. You know where we're at, and you still proceed to do that. It's not right.
So that brings up a whole nother thing. Like, I was having a conversation earlier this year about jakes, like down south, like it's you don't shoot a jake. It's against the rules. Like the etiquette is
frowned upon big time.
Oh, absolutely. So what is your you from like a quote unquote like trophy hunt type thing, or like your guide etiquette, or is it just the client's decision, or like how does that go? I mean, do you frown upon people? I mean, I know
No.
if it was a deer, you wouldn't care one bit.
No, we don't frown upon it. We actually had 2 jakes killed this year. One was by a 13-year-old girl, and who it wasn't her first turkey. I don't want to say it was a mistake. We had 5 birds come in. Her and her dad were hunting with us, and birds did everything right. And the dad told daughter, go ahead and shoot. The jakes were really aggressive, so they were not acting like normal, like stupid jakes running through the woods. They came in gobbling up a storm, and there's a couple long beards behind them that they did not see, and she just leveled this jake. And the dad was like, "Oh, is it a good bird?" And we're like, "Well, it's a bird." "Oh, well, I'm sorry." "No, don't be sorry. We're ecstatic. Like, we don't care what you shoot. If it makes you happy, we're 100% game for it. If you don't want to shoot a jake and we watch him walk by, me personally, I'm going to be looking at you like, why didn't you shoot it?" Because everybody that knows me, same with deer, I don't run away from shooting a jake either. If it gives me the opportunity, I'll shoot one. But then we just had another one shot yesterday, another jake come in. So it is what it is. Hunters were happy. We were happy for them. We don't frown upon it at all. Some people still look down on it, but hey, it's your tag. It's your happiness, your hunt. You want to do it, we'll support you 100%.
So you're from that end, like for you personally, like if it's your tag, like so you're going out for you, it's your hunt. You go out there as birds gobbling, comes in, and it's a jake.
I'm leveling it 100%.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, my buddies all give me crap for it, and I don't care. It's like I'm a meat hunter. I have enough fans and mounts on my wall that it don't matter to me. I'm in it for the hunt. I have passed jakes, just because it was one of those not exciting hunts. Like if I get a jake all fired up coming in to the decoy, wants to mess with the decoy, I'm gonna shoot it. Like I said, my buddies get all mad at me for it, but hey, man, I'm here for the fun.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, like for me, I can respect that. And I've not shot jakes before, but I've missed jakes. I've shot jakes. And honestly, like I okay. How about this? I'm a opportunist hunter. I had no idea about turkey hunting. This is probably the 5th year that I had turkey hunted. I probably killed 2 or 3 turkeys before this. Went out to this piece of private. There's turkeys every day. This is literally the last day of the season. I'm calling. Birds are gobbling. Start showing up in the field. Here comes a bunch of turkeys. Here comes this big gobbler, and he's, out of range. He's all strutted up. Then here comes in front of me this turkey, just moseying on by, 9-inch beard, dusted it. It was a hen. I didn't know that there was even a bearded hen. I didn't even know that existed. I brought it. I'm like, man, this thing is tiny. I'm like, what is the deal? And I brought it up, and the landowner, he didn't know. He's like, man, that ain't one of them big ones, but it's got a nice beard on it. I brought it to Frank, and he's like, that's a bearded hen. I was like, what in the world? So, and again, that's another thing that's totally frowned upon.
Yeah.
So how do you guys?
We try to stay away from that. We know there's bearded hens in the area. We try to stay away from it. And it's 100% due to nesting. Not so much that it's a hen. And
that's legal.
It is 100% legal. And there have been times where, hey, let's go shoot this hen. We know she's in there. it hasn't happened yet with a client, which, we've gone in there and they just weren't there. But the nesting reason in the spring, that's why it's frowned upon. We try to avoid it. That way we can have more turkeys in the area. Fall time, I've shot many hens in the fall bow hunting. Just because when you got a flock of 80 birds coming through when you're deer hunting, it's like, all right, something's got to happen here. But yeah, the bearded hen thing is a big ordeal. You see pictures all the time of people shooting bearded hens and a lot of negative comments on it, but it's still in my mind, like, we do it out of the reproducible thing, but I always give a hey, congrats on pictures because it made them happy 100%. Then go do it, makes you happy.
Yeah, for me, it was literally just like an opportunity. It was like, I didn't know that they even existed. It was like, it was a bird in the hand. It's better than one in the bush. Like,
Right.
I was like, I can kill this one, or
Yep.
maybe that one will work its way over here. That, like, shoot that one right now. And I was like, what in the world? And, whatever.
Yep,
But
yeah,
it was, we ate it with legs and
Yeah,
all. Like,
yeah.
so.
I deer hunt the same way I turkey hunt, and it's if it's fair game, I got a tag for it. We're going.
Now, have you run across like the opposite as far as like clients where they're like super picky?
We have some that will just want to shoot mature birds, and we don't frown upon that at all. We have the population of big birds, so normally when clients come in, we already have birds lined up that we can get on and go. So we know they only want, the mature longbeards, then we're going to tend to stay away from the places that have big flocks of jakes, and try to just single out on one or two longbeards, and it's pretty easy on that aspect. But we do have a few clients that will come in, and again, we're 100%. That's what you want to do. We want to pass jakes, okay.
Yeah, not necessarily from like Jake aspect, but like I always joke around where there's like, nobody's ever been like messed up on a turkey hunt. They're like, oh my God, that was Boone and Crockett, or
Yeah.
like whatever. But I could just see people coming in and being like, I wish it was a little bigger. Like, is that bird 20 pounds?
Yeah.
Or like whatever, like, oh, I thought it'd be bigger type thing. Like, I don't know. Some people are just.
Yeah, turkey world is a little different. I know a few guys that really hone in on, and they're just local hunters that really want the challenge and look for that big, big bird. But as client-wise goes, and most of the people, hey, if it's got a full tail fan and it looks like a mature bird, they're happy. A lot of people don't even know the difference, really. I mean, we had a lot of our clients, we explained to them, hey, this is a nice 2-year-old bird, this is a 3-year-old bird. Well, how do you know? Well, the spurs tell you a lot. So for that aspect, it's usually pretty easy going. Oh, that's a good long beard right there. We'll go after that one. Or
What do you think? What do you think is like the single thing that hunters do that keeps the most turkeys alive while turkey hunting?
Like as far as
Like, is it being too aggressive, overcalling,
yeah,
moving
100%
too much?
overcalling, 100% overcalling. I find myself doing it every once in a while too. Not having the patience on them. If you have a bird gobbling, they know where you're at already. They hear you. They know within basically the size of a house your location. So just give them time. Let them do what they want to do. Give them 5 minutes or so. Hit the call again, light call, and see which way they went. Most of the time, they're coming your way already. If they're standing back gobbling, they ain't coming, or they're waiting for you to come to them. So overcalling definitely makes them hang up. And that's number one thing that people mess up on.
So, in your definition, what is overcalling?
If I have a bird that's gobbling and I know he's responding right to me, not another hen. Like, you know when they're responding to you. If you make a call and they cut your call off with their gobble, they're calling back to you. Um, if you're just sitting there ripping on the call, making them gobble, that's way too much. If they're already responding to you, give them 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, see what happens. It's cool to hear them gobble. Well, I gotta tell all my other clients and everybody I know, if you think of it this way, if a bird is gobbling, he is not moving. So the more he's gobbling, the more he's just standing there. So a lot of people look at it that way and, oh, yeah, you're right, because they're stopping to gobble. Well, they're not close in the distance. So most of the time they're just sitting there strutting now because they're trying to figure out what's happening.
What's your take on calling? Because like I can tell the first bird that I called in myself and killed, the first two birds actually, were like the worst calls ever in the history. I was calling and nothing was happening. And then I started moving the striker like backwards on the call, making the super high pitch, and these birds were just hammering. And they came running in.
Yep.
Kind of almost identical in both scenarios. It was just like both two like really awkward sounding calls. And, you know, you see on social media, you see like these turkey calling competitions. Yep. You see all these, you know, these the little whistles and like all the like these specialty sounds where you're like, oh my God, I could never do that. Yeah. Like, how do you think? Like, what's your preferred?
You don't have to be good at calling call bird in at all. I've heard it from a lot of old guys and a lot of like good turkey hunters. No hens sound the same, so they all have their distinct. And in the same aspect, also turkeys are kind of like deer, where they're really curious. So they hear that weird noise and they're like, "Hey, what is that?" Like they like to go to stuff like that. But you could be brand new to calling turkeys and still call birds in, because it could sound like a different hen. Yeah, no birds sound the same, so it's just easy. Calling a bird in is pretty simple. Just overcalling is what usually scares them away. So I was not good calling when I started and called birds in. Just you fine tune it a little bit here and there, and you know what sound is meaning what and when to use it. But for most of the time, if you throw a yelp out, it's pretty versatile. You know, you can cut a little bit. They're always doing that. They're soft yelps. Soft yelps will kill more birds than any other call in your arsenal.
So that, you know, Frank sets out a million calls and he'll hit them with the kitchen sink if they're not responding. You know, he'll find something.
Yep.
But I can mouth call okay. I suck with box call. I feel like I'm always like slapping it, like you always get the clicking. But with a slate, just that purring and clucking, like real soft calling. I feel like that's the one thing that I can always get turkeys to respond with. And then the same thing, like you were saying, with like, if you can get the hens angry, like that just brought me back to one of the hunts I had with my brother. My brother is deaf, basically, and he never turkey hunted either. And I guess I just assumed he knew what like the whole idea behind turkey hunting was. But we had these birds, and I picked. This was one of those rare occasions where I had an idea where they were roosted, and we got pretty close. They flew down, and they were close. I called, and I called the boss hen like she was pissed, and I called her right to my feet, and she was, I mean, just cutting and clucking, and she was mad to the point where she was like literally at my feet where I couldn't move. I couldn't call anymore. And that turkey, my brother's had a Browning BPS 3.5-inch 10, and the turkey walked 40 yards past him at his feet and it was a rope just dragging on the ground, and he didn't shoot because he thought it was too far.
I'd been yelling.
But I was faced the other way. It was like at the base of this big, like oak tree. I was faced one way, and so I called the hen all the way around that tree to my feet, and I seen the turkeys going. They had already walked past him, and they were past, and then so those turkeys went off, and I like got up and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, we're not going to sit here anymore. Like, do you think there's going to be more turkeys coming? Seems like a good spot. He thought it was like deer, like there's like we were on a runway or something. Like, it's like, dude. And that same day I called in 6 jakes, same thing. Like I was behind my brother, and the jakes came up from behind us, and they were behind the tree, and they were like circled me. And then I called them around to the side. They were gobbling. They were doing, you know how they like spit and cluck and everything. Mm-hmm. And they never heard him. Never did anything. Like, dude, I called in 100 turkeys and nothing. But from that like calling, how do you, for somebody who's like not confident, like okay, so in this we're saying, okay, I'm not confident at calling. He says don't call too much. I'm not getting any response. Mm-hmm. I think there's turkeys here, but I don't know. Like, what do you do, or what would you tell like a guy that's starting out, like in that scenario?
So biggest thing is knowing that you have turkeys in the area. If you're not 100% confident you have birds in the area, whether there's tracks or anything like that, or you've seen them in the area, then that's where you start. Make sure there's birds in the area. We like to just walk down a 2-track, hit a little bit of a call. Doesn't matter, again, what it sounds like, because every hen's going to be different. As long as you're getting the basic, like you're not just sounding like, nails on a chalkboard. You're getting some kind of a
cadence.
Yeah. You should be fine. We'll hit a call, walk 150 yards down the trail, hit a call again. You'll eventually get one to strike, and then you're like, oh, hey, okay, maybe I don't sound that bad. A lot of it becomes in confidence just by hearing a bird respond to you, and it's like, okay, I got one to do it, so I can't be that bad. And then just practice, sit at home. Like I know annoy my wife all the time, especially getting ready for season. I'm tuning my calls up and getting them all set, and she's yelling at me because I'm playing with turkey calls in the house. And so it's all trial and error. That's all turkey hunting really comes down to, is trial and error. Just build the confidence in yourself and understand the turkey calls itself. Like, do I need to be high pitch? Am I making a hen mad? Do I need to get above her with pitch wise? Am I soft calling? Maybe they're not hearing me, so now I got to pick up the pitch a little bit, get it a little bit louder. Maybe they're just over another ridge instead. Comes back to trial and error. I mean, there's times we're standing in a 2-track for 20 minutes, just ripping on a box call every couple of minutes, and just trying to get something to shot gobble. And we get a shot gobble, hey, we got a direction to go now. That's a whole another thing, the shot gobble deal. You can hit a car horn and get them a shot gobble, and there you go. Let's go that direction. So,
in that scenario, what do you do? What's the play? Like, so you're doing that, like, and it's funny because I've had that happen like a few different times, like walking and calling, and you just strike one up, and I know Frank's got a couple stories where he's killed them this way, and this is my family, man. Another scenario where I called one in, and I had my dad. I said, "Sit facing down this 2-track this way," and he was facing the wrong way, and this bird come across, and it was the coolest thing because this bird. What ended up happening is that shot gobble that you're talking about. We were out there, and it started to thunder, and it freaking thundered, and boom,
Yep.
that bird
Light
gobbled
right
right on top of us. So I'm like, get down. I know where this bird's at. We sat down. I said, he's going to come right up this old logging road right here. And he had his gun like over here, and the bird come from over. I said, he picked the wrong logging road. I'm like, and that was really cool, except for I had a slate call, and it was getting wet and I couldn't make any
sliding
sense.
And
But that bird comes strutting in right down that logging road, and it was the only time that I've seen, and I don't know if this was because it was an older bird or just because it was so fired up or like what the deal was, but I mean, his head was just straight white. It was like going like just like a little bit red, and then it was blue, white, just freaking
falling in love.
Oh man, It was wild. It was so cool though. And that bird just, I mean, it was slow motion. He went like one step every 30 seconds and just went by, and I'm telling my dad, like, turn, turn, you know?
Yep.
But that same shock gobble, I mean, I know that Frank's killed them that way. Same thing, you know, just walking out, starting raining, I'll walk back to the truck, thunder, boom, turkey gobbles,
fire.
like, boom.
Yep. Once you get the location, the hardest part is finding the location. Once you got the direction, then you just know, hey, go that way. Eventually, you're going to run into a bird and call a little bit here and there. The Jake we killed yesterday was that same situation, walking in a 2-track and just giving some soft yelps. Had a hen fire up. All right, well, we got her upset, so we found a good spot to sit and just hang out, see if she had something behind her. Sure enough, gobble came from behind her and started working her, getting her all fired up. And then the gobble just kept staying back, and I was like, well, that's weird, you know. And she finally kicked to the side, and I happened to see a couple birds walking this little ridge. And I was like, well, it looked like a bunch of hens. Then they turned a little bit, and I was like, oh, those are Jakes. Okay. Hit the call, and they turned right to us, but the longbeard stayed in the back still because he must have got a crap kicked out of him by these Jakes, so he was just hanging out. They end up doing the same thing, though, like doing what Jakes do, just coming in, but their heads went from red to all of a sudden, they're starting to turn a little blue, white. The one guy we had with us, he never shot a bird before. I had him set in position to be able to shoot. Well, when the birds went to the right, the hen went to the right, he shifted, and he was stuck there when those Jakes come in. So his wife was next to me, and she shot, and so that was really cool. But it's one of those deals where you just walk down the trail and just popping on a call a little bit, and all of a sudden just boom, fire, and hey, you just sit right down.
I was thinking about that same situation, like the amount of times that I've just called in that freaking lone hen, and she's just, I had one come, but it was my buddy and I, I don't think he's ever called in, I don't think he's ever killed a turkey, and that is actually pretty cool. There were these other guys that were hunting in this, we had wanted to go set up in this spot in the morning. There were some other guys in there, and these birds were out in the field, and the birds had walked off, and like so it was like first thing in the morning. We were on these other birds, that same type of deal where I couldn't call them, and they were too, you know, I sat up way off and I couldn't call them, and they were gobbling all over, and I freaking went into the woods because those turkeys had worked into the woods, and I ended up calling them. Those turkeys were coming right to us, and they popped out in the woods, and those other guys killed one. I called them right for those other guys, and that was kind of neat because we talked to those guys. But then, you know, because I didn't know it was, you know, 4 hours later. I didn't know if they were still there. We weren't. We were 200 yards probably from where they were at, and I could see those birds had worked way off, and they were way down in the field. And I called them all the way back to that corner, and we were just about ready to shoot the one, and so it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just
there's some wild times in the turkey woods.
It's just something. But the amount of times that I've just called in hens, but the other time, the time that I was thinking about, that's what I was going to say. Like we had one come in and nest like 20 yards in front of us, and then it's like, what are you going to do? Because you're just stuck.
You're just stuck there. Just hens normally, if they're by themselves and they like nest up like that, or if I'm getting tired of watching them, I'll just get up and, hey, get out of here, I'm tired of dealing with you. Same with jakes. Like if I know there's a big bird in there and I'm really wanting to hunt that bird, I'll run jakes off because I'm tired of watching them, especially when they're attacking my decoys or something. But
the hen thing's hard because you're calling and you're like, well, it looks like for the first 45 minutes, you're like, oh, we got a live decoy, this is cool. And then you're just like, this is
this
stupid.
is dumb. Like, just get out of here.
Yeah.
You ain't doing us any good.
So we'll wrap this up, but what late season tactics do you have? So these birds are pressured, they might get tight lipped. You're not going to hear them as well because of all the leaves and all that stuff. So late season, if you were taking, like it was your dad's last hunt, you're definitely going to get him a bird. What are your go-tos for late season?
For the most part, what I do is I stick to the same pattern. I might do more of an afternoon hunt, or it's either kill them right off the roost, or I'll come in at like 10 or 11. There's no like, okay, well, I'm going to battle this bird off this hen anymore, because it ain't going to happen. It's too hot. I'm dealing with bugs. I'll just wait till they kick their hens and then come in a little bit later. Or sometimes you got the hot bird he's done with all of his hens. The hens don't want nothing to do with him. Now he's coming off the roost looking for hens. So it could be both ways on that.
So you said afternoon hunt. I was going to ask you about that. Like, what's your thoughts on that, and what's the tactic there?
So it's still the same, like, as from day one till the end of the season. We generally don't see or try to hunt birds after like 6 o'clock. We don't like to booger up their roost pattern. But that 11 to like 1, 2 o'clock is a very deadly time for turkey hunting. Because they're just out roaming, looking for other birds, feeding, anything. But you strike up a tom in that time, more than likely he's going to be coming in hot. Because there's usually not another bird around, or he's already seen all the other birds. So that, get out there about 10 a.m. and hunt till 2, 3. That's usually a really good time late season.
All right. So if people want to get a hold of you, if they're interested in your NWTF chapter, if they're interested in your guide service, if they got questions, any of that stuff, where do they find all that information?
Our guide service is on Facebook, Chasing Thunder Guide Service. It'll actually direct you to my partner Zach. Everything, he handles all the paperwork part, because it's just easier. He's got it all figured out. But yeah, any questions, anything like that, you can message either me or him on Facebook, right through the page, or my individual page. And as far as our NWTF chapter, we're out of Whitehall, the Lakeshore Longbeards, and we're a new chapter up there. We're doing really good things, and we're trying to get more people involved. And for people that don't know about the NWTF and how much they actually do for all the wildlife and everything, it's not just turkeys either. We're taking care of a lot of whitetail habitat, elk habitat, everything across the country. NWTF contributes to, so it's actually a really good foundation. So
awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming over, and it's good seeing you.
Appreciate you having me.
Can't wait for deer season.
I know, I'm ready for camp.
I know it's going to be fun. It's going to be tough to top last year. I keep saying that.
We're gonna have to shoot a little one.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to shoot a couple of rabbits or something. But yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate it.